Hi everybody, welcome to Tall Oak Homestead. My name is Carrie. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to start our first seeds of the season. Well, actually not the first seeds, but the first time using my seed blockers. So we're going to start it in the greenhouse where I can make some mess, and then we'll take them all inside and we'll get planting. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of water to my soil here. The goal is you want your blocks to, the goal is to have your soil moist, not soaking wet, like moist enough so that when you squeeze it, it's going to hold a shape, but not so much that it's leaking water. That's pretty good there. Okay, so I think this is going to take some practice because I have never used a soil blocker before. I went in and got, instead of my black trays, I got a flat tray because I kind of think that I might run into a little bit of trouble if when you're trying to put it on an uneven surface. I don't think it's going to keep the block together properly, so I'm just going to try this on a flat tray that I have here. All right, let's see what we can do here. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way. I'm just kind of pushing it down into the dirt and then trying to make sure that they're in there, all the dirt's in there nice and tightly, so that it gives us a nice tight little square. Okay, let's see what we got here. First try. That's pretty good. Okay. Well, let's see what else we can get done here. I didn't check the temperature when it came out. I'm just out here in a short sleeve shirt. I'm guessing it'll be 50 something. I'll check when I'm finished making these. If any of you use a soil blocker and you are screaming at me right now because I'm doing it so incorrectly, I'd love to hear your comments. Okay, that's pretty good. Stay there. Thank you. I'll just do 2 more, and then that should be good for what we're going to plant today. I don't have a lot to start today. If I recall from my list, I believe we're going to do some violas, some pansies, some rudbeckia, It's either Rebecca or echinacea. I gotta double check, I'm not sure. And some onions. My onions though, I start in a large, deeper container and I do a mass planting all at once. That's pretty good. Yeah, I notice on the bottom if I don't clean off the bottom, if there's too much of an overfill of the soil, then they tend to kind of spread apart once I release them. So I'll have to make sure that I'm just trying to push them into the holes here to make sure it's in there nice and tight so we have a nice solid little square, but I gotta make sure also that I'm not having too much overflow on the top here. I'm wondering if it might be helpful too, like in between making these blocks, to dip this little thing into a bit of water to rinse it off a bit. I don't know if that'll help, but I didn't come prepared to do that today, so I'll try that maybe the next time. Oh, crud. Oh. Okay. Okay. It's quite a bit more messy than the other method, but that's okay too. You gotta try new things. Okay, so I think that's going to be enough for us to do our project today. I'll just get these gloves off and we can head inside. Oh, I gotta blow it on my glove. I'm just going to throw those out. We'll head inside and we'll see what we can do with these. Okay, I noticed when I brought these inside that the little indents for planting, they're not very deep. And for some of the things that need to be planted deeper than surface, I think I'm gonna have to use my little trays that I have. I do have some left over from last year, but you know, like my peppers, for example, my shishito peppers, they need to be planted 1/4 of an inch deep. These are more of a surface sow here, and that's okay because I have my pansies and my violas, which I'm going to plant. I'm going to try them in these 2 little boxes here. Oh, should probably write some tags. I'm not too sure where I'm going to put them actually. Maybe if I just stick them right there. So let's write our tags. There's a whole different way of doing this for me, so I am making it up as I go along. Viola, it's today's date, March the 6th. So I'll just leave it like that. Pansy. Just need the date on one because I know I've done the whole tray at the same time. So we'll start with the violas. They're very tiny. It's stuck to my tweezer. Come on. No. There we go. A little bit of cooperation here. Violas and pansies are one of my favorites. In my front garden I have tons of pansies, or we call them Johnny jump ups. And the funny story is that my mom, when she was alive, she tried to garden. Tried is the big word here. She was not a gardener. She killed everything except for pansies. She had a great love of pansies, and that was one flower that she could grow. So whenever we see Johnny jump ups, we always say that Nana's come to visit us. So I always like to have lots of them in my garden. They remind me of my mom. And you'll notice, I'm sure you've seen my arm. I have a tattoo. My daughter and I both have matching tattoos. The ribbon represented the type of cancer she had, and the Johnny jump ups are from my mom. Happy to report that she's in remission still, which is fantastic. It's been, I want to say maybe 10 years. First year of university. Not a great time, but we sure learned a lot. Okay, there's our violas. Some pansies next. So I'm just placing them in the middle of the block. Oops, there's two on that one. In the little indent, and then when I'm finished, I'm going to put some vermiculite on top of them. The vermiculite will allow the light to come through, but it will also help to retain moisture. Okay, these are sticking like crazy to my tweezers for some reason. I don't usually have this much trouble. And I know it's a lot of seeds to start, but as I mentioned, I'm going to be doing a lot of filling in I have a naturalized hill at the back of the property. I'm going to be filling it with a lot of perennials this year. And I guess the one good thing too is that trying this method of seed starting, I have given myself enough time that if it doesn't work out, then we can try them or go back to the method that I used to use, but I'm hoping that this is going to work out for us. It's just I'm a little concerned that they're not as deep, like the holes aren't as deep, but for some of these flowers, like these two, the viola and the pansies, they are kind of a surface sown seed. Okay, I'm going to do some ornamental grass next. Bunny tails. I don't think I want 20 of them though. I think I'll only do half of that. These are really pretty. I used these for the first time last year. I used them in my containers at the end of my driveway. And Andrew had them in his garden and he really liked them. Okay. Oh, I don't see one on that one. It's okay if there are two because I can always thin them out. That here. All right, what else have I got? I have, oh, it's echinacea. I think I said Rudbeckia, but we're gonna do echinacea next. And I think because I want to use a lot of echinacea in both in my garden and my formal garden out front, and in the hill out back I was talking about, I'm gonna plant this whole one right here and maybe these ones right here. Let's see, echinacea. So this whole one here is echinacea. Maybe if I'll do it over here too. Maybe if I just stick it underneath like that. There we go. Okay, what else do we have? We have some strawberries. Fill this block here with strawberries. Oh my goodness. I think today is miniature seed day for everything. Oops, I just shot that one up somewhere. Everything. I've still got my shishito peppers that I want to plant, and our onions, but I don't need, I don't think I need that block there. So what I think we'll do is we'll get these covered with some vermiculite, and I can just we'll just take this earth and we'll put it into the pots that we're going to plant the shishito peppers with and the onions. Okay, I'm gonna try and just pick this up. Okay, let's get these covered with some vermiculite. It's certainly a messy process. I think what I'll do is I might even make a little map on a piece of paper, or actually I think what I might do is I'll get some tape, and I will, once everything's in here and settled, I'll get some tape and I'll just tape it around the side of the tray here so that I can have an additional indicator as to what is in these little seed things. Okay, there's the vermiculite. Now let's just give them a little water. I'm also not sure with these new type of blocks here how much water I'm going to need every day. Just have to keep an eye on it, I guess. What I'm going to do is I have some domes I'm going to put over top of these. That will help keep the moisture in. It doesn't seal perfectly like they did on the black trays, but I found when I was trying to do the soil blocks on those trays, the bottoms weren't even, and so as soon as I would release the the handle to make the blocks, they were just kind of exploding. They weren't staying together. All right, I think that's pretty good. You can tell by looking at the side of it here that it's, at the side of the squares, that there's a lot of water in there, which is good. Okay. I'm gonna get these put down here on the bottom rack. Oh, I'm gonna don't put it over the top. Doesn't fit perfectly, but it'll do the job. There. You can see the shallots are doing well, and the bunching onions. Okay, we still have the peppers to plant, which I'm going to use in my jiffy strips here, just because they're going to be, I need to plant them a little deeper. They need to go 1/4 of an inch into the soil. So I'm going to get these trays filled up here. I'm actually going to do it inside the bag here so that I'm not making a huge mess, because I'm in the basement, I'm not in the greenhouse. We just went for a walk after dinner, and it was so funny. There's a farm just up the road from us, like just fairways, and the cows were just making such a racket. They're very unhappy about something right now. I'm not too sure what was going on. But we actually, another time in the summer when Andrew and I were out riding our bikes, we passed that same farm, and I've never heard cows so vocal, so I don't know. It's just kind of funny to listen to. Okay, get all this filled up. It really is so much easier doing this outside, but it's dark, and I don't have a light in the greenhouse right now, so just have to make do and do it in the house here. I'm also going to fill my pots. This is what I'm going to put my onions in. I tried this method last year and it worked pretty good. You basically just plant an incredible amount in that bin and let them all just start to sprout. Keep them trimmed, and then you basically just, when you go out to plant them, you just kind of turn your container sideways and pull them out, and then you separate them, and you have your starts. I'm gonna do a little bit of research though. The past few years I've had not a lot of luck with my onions, but as I was telling you, I've been doing a lot of research on companion planting. So I'm going to look further into that for onions and see what would be a good crop that I could plant as beneficial to my onions. I didn't get so far as to check on the onions. All right, that should be good. All right, I'll get this spread out nice and even. Get a little hole in each. Shishito peppers are absolutely my most favorite pepper to plant and to eat. You should try them. They are, well, they say 1 in 10. 1 in 10 of them are hot, and that's absolutely true. But they're just delicious. How I eat them is I saute them in a frying pan with a little bit of olive oil, just until the skins have blistered. They're absolutely delicious. They're a great snack. Once they start to, I'm able to harvest them in the summertime, I will literally every day go out and grab a handful and have them for lunch. They're delicious. So I'm gonna plant 20 of these in the hopes that they all germinate. I should actually start doing, if I'm gonna do poblano, I can't remember if I'm doing poblano peppers this year or not, but if I am, I know that they are very slow to start. Well, maybe I'll get them started over the weekend. I'll just check my list though a little bit and see. To open a new package there, I was running out. Yeah, these are delicious. They are so easy to grow, and they were so prolific last year. They just kept growing and growing all summer. I had a wonderful harvest. Okay, those are my shishito peppers. Cover the tops up here. Get ourselves a couple of labels. Okay. Okay, the last thing I need to plant today are my onions. I'm going to do candy onions and acarema, I don't think I'm saying that right, red onions. So I'm just gonna give myself a second here to make a couple of tags. I'm gonna plant a lot of these because, and as I was telling you about my my research that I was doing on companion planting, I noticed that onions came up a lot, and so I thought, well, I will do maybe a little bit more than what I would normally plant for a season, and then I will just place some of these in the beds with with other plants that they will be a good companion with. So I'll do these ones in the front here, can be candy onions. I'm just gonna say red onion. I guess it doesn't really matter the mess that I'm making because we just came back from a walk, and as I'm looking down on my floor, all I see are muddy footprints from Berkeley. That's all right. It's the time of year, there's not much you can do about it. Okay, so for our candy onions. Okay. So I'm just going to try and evenly space them out here. I can get this kind of as flat as I can, and then what I'll do is I'll put a little sprinkle of dirt on top, and then we can, I'm not going to put vermiculite on these actually. To open up the other package here. Just first, I'll straighten that out a bit. It's not as precise when I'm planting the onions, just because you want a whole bunch of them to be growing here. And I don't thin these out. Okay, the red onions. Again, I'll spread this out. I especially love red onions. I always have a jar of pickled red onions in my fridge. I have them on sandwiches. I'll put them on my pizza. They are my favorite. Okay, get these sprinkled around. sure you can hear the fan in the background. As soon as I have seeds on my shelves down here, I have the fan going. All right, I'm just going to take a little handful of dirt and sprinkle it on top. Okay, and let's give them a drink. I normally use potting soil, but when I was out the other day, I got actual seed starting soil. It's got a different texture to it. I think it's going to hold a lot more moisture. So we'll see how that works out. Give everything a nice drink here. I need to get I've got some tablecloths, these plastic tablecloths here that I get from the dollar store, and I put rivets in them and I attach them to the back of my growing racks, because once I start watering on my racks, the water sprays everywhere. And last year I pulled one of the racks away from the wall and I made a heck of a mess. So I just want to be a little proactive in keeping the paint looking a little nice back there. Okay, I think that's a good water in. Okay, we'll get these placed on the rack. Right now I still have lots of room on my racks. I don't have to start sharing shelves yet, so I'll just leave them like that so they have their own shelf. And then we'll check back in a few days and see how we're doing with germination. Okay, that's it for our planting today. We have everything finished. We planted some pansies, some violas, some strawberries, some bunny tail grass, some echinacea, some shishito peppers, and two types. We have a white onion and a red onion. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they all progress. I have a huge mess to clean up down here, and I need to start writing into my my journal the seeds that we planted today and how many, just so that I have a record. And I'll keep you informed on how these new seedlings are doing. I'm still not too sure what I think about the soil blocks. It took me quite a while to get the hang of making them, and that's okay. I don't mind learning a new skill like that, but I'm just a little concerned that they might not be big enough for the seeds to start germinating. But as I said, we'll keep an eye on it, and if not, I've given myself some time that I can start them again if need be. So we'll just keep our eyes on them. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to spend it with me while I do one of my planting projects. We're getting closer to the spring, everybody. I'm very excited. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye. We hope you enjoyed watching our video. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to help us grow our channel. Thanks so much for watching.